lots of nieces she loved. Good evening. Okay, I'm going to speak up when I see you. She's like, speak up. Okay. Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Maggie. I'm Betty Gleason's niece. First, if I may, I would like to take a moment on behalf of my uncle, John Gleeson, and Betty's siblings, Michael and Bridget Cotter, as well as Michael O'Sullivan, who are present here today, and thank you all for coming to honor and celebrate the life of a woman, for whom my husband, our children, and I affectionately refer to as Aunt Betty. I would also like to thank you on behalf of Aunt Betty's other siblings who are back home in England and Ireland, which include her sisters Eileen, Margaret, and brother Joe. We know they equally share our loss and are here with us in spirit today, but unfortunately we're not able to make the long journey and instead are back home attending masses and lighting candles as they grieve with us. As some of you already know, Aunt Betty was born in County Limerick, Ireland, and came to the United States as a young woman a little over 50 years ago. After arriving in the States, she secured a job with the National Safety Council here in Chicago, and she was there until her retirement. While at the National Safety Council, she worked alongside Bridget Sullivan and was roommates with Una Deppner, who have remained just a couple of her lifelong friends, and there are far too many to mention. As children, my cousins Tammy, Joanna, Nora, as well as my own sister Nora, used to reap the rewards of free coloring books from the National Safety Council that Aunt Betty would bring home for us. We will remember fondly the many times she picked us up for weekend sleepovers and would treat us to a new item of clothing and take us for lunch to various restaurants that she frequented in the Six Corners area of Chicago. I would like to tell you a story about one particular sleepover during my childhood that will be etched in my mind forever. It was a Sunday morning, and my sister Nora and my younger cousin, also Nora, and I awoke with Aunt Betty beginning to prepare bacon and eggs in the kitchen for us. While waiting for breakfast, we were all hanging out in the living room and dining room area. We spotted a candy dish sitting on the dining room table. There were these silver-wrapped chocolates in there. The temptation was far too great, and the three of us girls decided to eat a few. We actually ate them all and left the dish empty. After a few minutes, I went to the kitchen, as did my sister Nora, and we began to tell my aunt that we did not feel very well and our stomachs were hurting. Little Nora, my cousin at this point, was already in the bathroom. Aunt Betty questioned why we didn't feel good, and I stated I didn't know. We felt fine before the candy. To which Aunt Betty responded, "What candy?" I said, "The candy on the dining table." Well, Aunt Betty called us all Egypts and said that wasn't candy at all. That was X-Lax. Who keeps X-Lax on their dining table? Needless to say, we asked her to get Nora, little Nora, out of the bathroom, and she said, "Now she is younger and you'll have to just wait your turn." All while me and my sister stood very anxiously with legs crossed, waiting for little Nora to get off the throne. I reminisced about this story with Aunt Betty over the past few weeks and asked her if she had remembered it. She said she did, and she responded with her mischievous sense of humor and said, "If I had another X-Lax right now, I'd give you another one, Meg." Aunt Betty had many nieces and nephews here in the States, as well as across Ireland and England, and I know if they were here, they would have equally funny stories to share. Aunt Betty did not have any children of her own, but she was a mother hen to many. She never forgot our birthdays or Christmas, and you could always count on her for cards. She was extremely generous like that. When she married our Uncle Sean, aka Johnny Gleeson to some of you, we gained an uncle and spent many wonderful times throughout the year celebrating St. Patrick's Day together, which usually consisted of us all going to watch Uncle Sean play music, and we spent many Thanksgivings and Christmases, as well as the kids' birthdays, at my home and occasionally theirs. Aunt Betty spanned the generations. She watched all of us children grow from infancy through adulthood. She attended our christenings, our communions, our confirmations, our weddings, and for me personally, she attended the birth of all three of my children and came to the hospital to see each one of them, Frankie, Alex, and Emily. who also, I know, hold very fond memories of her, as she was fiercely protective of them. And when any one of them complained to Aunt Betty that Mommy had grounded them for some infraction, she often said, "Mag, they are good kids, and you be nice, or I will kick your ass." She often babysat for my kids while Bryant and I were at work. I would take the boys to school and then drop Emily off with Aunt Betty, who would promptly take her to the Norwood restaurant in Chicago for their daily routine of a Mickey Mouse pancake. It was their girl time, and I knew they cherished it the same way that Nora, Tammy, Joanna, and I enjoyed our sleepovers with her. One afternoon, when Aunt Betty went to pick the boys up from the Catholic school for me, Frankie had told Aunt Betty that a young boy was being mean to him and hitting him. So what does Aunt Betty do but ask Frankie, and I quote, okay, I'm going to clean up this word because I promised my uncle I would do so. "You point that little bee out to me. I'm sure you can all imagine." Frankie pointed to a group of about 4 boys who had their backs turned, and in pure Aunt Betty fashion, she marched directly over there and grabbed a young boy firmly by the arm, turned him around, looked down at him, and pointed her finger, saying, "You keep your hands to yourself or else." As the boy looked quite puzzled at her, Frankie said, "No, not him, that one." So she looks at the next boy, and now this kid is towering about a foot taller than her, and she spins him around and says, "You leave Frankie alone." So "You leave him alone and keep your hands to yourself. Do I understand?" Needless to say, her fierce Irish temper caused that boy to conclude that she was a crazy lady and would be back for him, so he didn't mess with Frankie anymore. When I heard this story later that afternoon, I laughed, as it was so typical of Aunt Betty. She loved her family and was fiercely protective of her brothers, her sisters, as I know that they could also attest to. She spoke her mind. She didn't care if you liked it or not. I will cherish the times we all spent together as children, gathering at Aunt Jo and Uncle Christy's house on Patterson. While the adults were upstairs having many laughs, us kids would play together and listen to Grease albums in the basement. Her many friends I know also have many wonderful and hysterical moments of Aunt Betty, who was always the life of the party. She loved to go to the dances, always enjoyed a cocktail, okay, maybe 2, and kept everyone laughing with her mischievous sense of humor from dusk till dawn. The word heck could often be heard during cocktail hour, and for you Irish folks, you know that's not what I mean. And who could possibly forget her big 60th birthday celebration almost 10 years ago, which was held at the Irish American Heritage Center. If you weren't there, you missed a great party. Uncle Sean played his music, we all danced and laughed. And while I could tell you another hysterical story about a gift that Aunt Betty received from her crazy friend, Catherine McCormick, I best keep it to myself, as I hear Aunt Betty's voice in my ear at this very moment, and in her loving and usual tone to me saying, "Shut up, Mag, you crazy witch, shut up." Besides, I'm quite sure the priests are present here somewhere. I personally spoke to her every day by phone, and sometimes twice a day. We could talk about anything, and we shared many laughs. But I never ever called on a Sunday morning. I knew exactly where she was, and if I had called, she would have said, "I'm busy, Mag." You see, on any given Sunday, you could find Aunt Betty in her home with her husband, her sister Bridget, and her siblings, Uncle Christy and Mickey, sharing laughs, or as they like to refer to it, sharing a crack or 2. I always knew better than to call during that time or dare interrupt the cracks they were sharing. I know this past Sunday must have been especially difficult for them, and for that my heart aches for you. While these are just a few of the family memories that I hold dear, I know there are many more amongst the rest of the family and her many friends that are gathered here today. I ask that you speak of her often and share these memories with family and friends when you gather, as while she may not be physically present here on earth, her spirit will live on in the many lasting memories that she helped us all create with love and laughter. In her final year of life, despite her illness, she was more concerned for her husband, her brothers, her sister, than she was for herself, and she expressed this to me. She wanted them to take care of themselves and not to worry. Another selfless act on her part. She fought with a lion's heart, but the battle was too great, and she grew tired. She wanted to be home amongst her things and with her family that was so important to her. Anyone who knew Aunt Betty well knew that she was a lady who liked to put herself together. Her hair always had to be perfect, her makeup just right, and her clothes color coordinated. I asked that those who had the privilege of visiting her in her final hours, while her immediate family kept a bedside vigil, to not remember her in those final hours. I would ask that she be remembered as the vibrant, beautiful, put-together lady with a kind and generous heart and a fighting spirit who created so much love, laughter, and many lasting memories for us all. Lastly, I would like to say to my Uncle Sean, my Aunt Jo, my Uncle Christy, Mickey Mouse, and my mother, I know how your heart breaks, but while you may have just lost a beautiful wife and sister, I hope that you will take some comfort in knowing that you have all now gained a guardian angel who I have no doubt is sitting here amongst us, holding your hands, and will continue to do so in the difficult days ahead as we continue our own journey here on earth and until we all meet again. Thank you, and God bless you.